Good morning. Well, as I had said the last time, I was pretty sure that the indictment was going to come down against Donald Trump. I was a little surprised when it came down because the press was reporting it may have been the end of April or whatever. But here we are. The former president of the United States has been indicted. First time ever happening in our country that a former president was indicted. So he is now. So let's talk about the indictment because everybody's talking about it. Republicans, Democrats, conservative, liberals, scholars, lay people, everybody in the world is talking about it. Let me try to break it down a little bit. The indictment is for a misdemeanor of filing false entries into his bookkeeping reports. Now, what does that mean? Well, that means that if you do something and you file false entries, you're running for campaign, you're in a political environment, you could be charged with a violation of that. One of the things to be mindful is that the election committee already had looked that over and decided there was nothing to it. Be that as it may, this is what the charge starts with, that there were false entries. But the false entry charge, a misdemeanor, has a 2-year statute of limitations, which means that the events allegedly occurred in March of 2017. So the 2 years has already passed. So how does the district attorney overcome that? Well, what he said was that the entry of the false entries, were done for the purpose to hinder the apprehension and cover up another crime. That crime being something that has not been listed in the indictment. That's why if you see everybody saying we don't even know exactly what the underlying crime is, it's because he has not listed it. Now, initially, you don't have to list it in New York and Manhattan. It's a little strange because the Constitution requires prosecutors to advise defendants of what they've been charged with so they can adequately defend it. But he has led everyone to believe in his press conference that they're talking about this underlying crime being a violation of the Federal Election Commission laws. That is a felony, but it's a federal felony. It's not a state felony. So it begs the question, how could you charge him with a federal offense? Also be mindful that the federal government, the Southern District of New York, reviewed this case and passed on the prosecution. So now we have a district attorney that has the Federal Election Committee that passed on it, said there was no violation. You have the federal government that has passed on it and said there were no federal election law violations. So now what we have is a district attorney that is taking a misdemeanor, which the statute of limitations is expired on, and he's bootstrapping it into a felony, but a federal felony offense. And I say all of this because these are the challenges that are going to be made by the defense counsel to try to get this thing dismissed. That's an interesting case, and that's why it's grabbing so much attention. As I said on the last video, it doesn't matter whether you like Donald Trump or not. It doesn't matter whether you voted for him or not. But we can't get caught up in personalities or emotion when you're dealing with the Constitution of the United States. The thing that separates us from third world countries is that prosecutors just can't prosecute willy-nilly. They can't prosecute because they don't like somebody. They can't prosecute because somebody's political views are not consistent with their own. And it appears that there's certainly enough evidence to really make that argument in this case. So again, it's interesting because he actually took the platform when he was running for district attorney and indicated that he was going to get Trump. Now think about that. Can you imagine sitting in your home, you being indicted, and somebody had previously indicated that they were going to come after you? And he does. He comes after him and he indicts him on an unprecedented indictment, never happened before, on a situation which has been passed over by other agencies, and President Donald Trump, or former President Donald Trump, is now indicted. So we're going to have to see how this plays out. The next step, though, is for the defense attorneys to file a motion to dismiss for statute of limitations, for not having a basis in which to form the indictment, for not having a state crime that has been alleged to have been committed, for prosecutorial misconduct, selective prosecution. So there's going to be a whole host of different motions that are going to be filed in an attempt to get this matter dismissed. It's going to be interesting, but more importantly, what's interesting is to pay attention to what's going on in our country. Are we going into a situation where prosecutors can now indict people political people that are not in their party. Because if the Democrats can do it, then the Republicans can do it. Where in the world are we headed? We all really need to hope for a real good result that really justifies whatever is taking place, and if not, dismisses it immediately and we move on. Because if not, we're heading down a path that is not a path that we've ever experienced before as Americans, and it's not a path we want to be on.